All right, let's talk about this, you guys. Really, really, really important to have a plan and to have support, right? And that's with starting any small business. If you Google it, you guys that are looking at me and everybody else on YouTube and doing research on other platforms, whatever, TikTok, social media, Facebook, I don't know, Instagram, whatever. You're looking at this industry and you're seeing videos, right? And I'm guilty of it too. And it's not intentional, but I can only fit so much of my 24-hour day into a 10-minute video. So you're not seeing everything. And I try to share, my struggles and when things go wrong and, when trucks break down and when people have accidents. Remember, you're starting a small business, and that means you're an entrepreneur who wants to be some type of independent, who doesn't want to work for the man and, wants to make his own hours, his or her own hours, like I do and like I am and have been. Google it, you guys. You can look at the stats, and not just in the transportation industry, but even if you were to just Google, how many small businesses fail within their first 12 months and within their first year. And that number is astonishing. It's probably, I think it was like 75% don't make it their first year. And after 5 years, only 25% are still in business. And that's just one person opening a small business. It doesn't matter if you're a plumber or a window cleaner or, a florist or a baker or whatever, a restaurant, whatever. The numbers are very low. The success rate is very low. And that goes too with transportation. If you Google FMCSA and look at, how many DOT numbers are still in business after their first year, I think the number is like, I don't know, 80% fold, after their first year. It's astonishing. That's what I mean when I'm saying plan your life before you plan hotshot. So let's get into that. First and foremost, I don't think anybody has touched on this. Really, really, really important, you guys. 3 things. If you want to be independent like me, have your own DOT number, your own MC number, your own authority, your own LLC or corporation, whatever it is. Number 1, if your citizenship is in question or in jeopardy, in limbo, whatever the case, and I'm not going to get into too much detail about it. If any of these 3 things apply to you, please check into this stuff before you start buying your truck, your trailer, and all of your stuff, okay? If your citizenship, I'm just going to say, is in question at all, then you really need to see if you will even qualify to get your own DOT and MC numbers with the feds. That is a federally granted number. And if you're not in good with the feds, then you may not be able to get those numbers. And then the second thing is back taxes. You guys, if you owe back taxes, now I'm not saying if you owe back taxes, but you have a payment plan and blah, 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 you may get into it. But back taxes, if you owe them, you may or may not be able to get a DOT and MC number. And the third one to that is back child support, you guys. And I'm not saying like if you owe 10 grand in child support, but you have a payment plan set up and you're current with those payments, same with taxes, you could probably get it. But again, don't quote me, go do your own research. But if you owe back child support and you're like, ducking and dodging, so to speak, working under the table, this is not working under the table. You have to have, if you want to go independent, you have to have, even if you don't want to go independent, you have to have your ducks in a row. Obviously, if you already owe back taxes, the state, if you owe back taxes, the feds are not going to want to give you your DOT number, and the state is probably not going to want to give you your state authority because you've already proven to them that you don't want to pay them what they are think that they are due. So think about that, okay? I don't think anybody has touched on that, and that's really, really important, and that's something to think about as you're in the beginning stages of planning. The next one is life planning, you guys. And that's something else to really, really, really think about. Family, kids, right? Significant others, health situations, purchasing cars, purchasing houses. We're going to get into all of that right now. So you're like, no, all I've been doing is watching videos and all I want to do is just start Hotshot Natalie. I think you're awesome and I want to do what you do and blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's great. But, and I'll use Sherry and Larry. I hope they don't mind. Sherry and Larry, fantastic couple. Heads, very, very smart. They bought all the right equipment. They took all of the right steps. I was mentoring them. They signed onto my Patreon, got them going. And then my heart went out to Sherry, her mother, who is a little up in years, right? Round 3 of cancer. And they decided to close the doors to their hotshot company after spending, I'm sure, tens of thousands of dollars, a lot of money, right? Everybody spends a lot of money to get started. they decided to close their doors because they had to go home and take care of their family. So really, really, really important. How are you, what's the plan, right? What's the plan? Whether it's with family, if you have older people in your family, what's going to happen to them? How are they going to take care of themselves if you're not around a lot? And in the beginning, you're probably not going to be around a lot. You're going to be taking a lot of longer runs. You're going to be staying away from home. The majority of us hotshots do not have the ability to generate enough revenue in order to make this business make sense, and also be home in their own beds every night. And that is me included, you guys. So think about that. Kids, right? If your kids are really young, think about that. Kids, they grow fast, but you don't want to miss out. You don't want to miss out on that stuff. And think about your significant other, if you have one, or if you're a single parent, like I was when I started. My daughter was older. She was 14. She's almost 19 now, so she was older, and I made a decision, against my family's, opinions. I made a decision not to have her go into her freshman year of high school. I pulled her out, and I had her do online school, and she sat with me in the truck, and we traveled the country while I generated revenue, and she did her, high school online. And that was a decision that I made. Turned out to be a really good decision. Of course, right? We have a plan, and we hope that things go well. And that one did work out well. But if you've got younger kids, you can maybe take them out on the road with you, but probably not full time. If you're young and you're serious with somebody, or you're engaged, or you're newly married, how is you being gone for, who knows, 4 days at a time, 2 weeks at a time, 3 weeks at a time? How is that going to affect your home life, your family situation, your significant other, and the potential of your kids? Sometimes we plan kids and sometimes we don't, right? Sometimes it's a surprise. So think about that too. If you start a family, whether it's planned or unplanned, how is Hotshot going to fit into that family dynamic and the support system? And I've talked about it several times. The support system that I had and that I continue to have now is huge. My daughter helped me so much. My mom and so many other people have helped me along this process of my journey, because when I talk to you guys about Hotshot, I say, you're starting a small business. That business is your baby. It takes a village to raise a child. And so that support system is huge. You guys have a support system. Think about it, figure out what your plan is. And these are all things that's all the plan stuff, right? So, if you're young and you have young kids, or you're starting to talk about starting a family, how is Hotshot going to fit into that lifestyle? And if you're older and you have older family members, who's going to take care of them? How are they going to, have the support that they need while you're gone? In order to live comfortably. So my daughter was a little older. I talked to a lady who had 3 kids. She told me she had 3 kids, and they were like 7 and I don't know. But she was like, yeah, I want to do what you do with your kid, and run Hotshot and have my kids in the truck with me. And I'm like, whoa, hold on. Hold on. I was like, really? You need to think about that. Because, 3 kids, 3 little bladders, 3 cranky nap times, and 3, educational, schedules and all kinds of stuff. So that would probably be a lot. My daughter was a little older. I decided to do what I decided to do. My mom was retired. She held down the fort, and fed all of my critters and took care of my house and my, paying my bills and kept up with my paperwork and, did all of that stuff for me while I was able to go out and run loads. So I had that support system. Likewise, in buying houses, if you want to purchase soon, do it. Probably a good idea to do it before starting Hotshot, or know that you potentially are not going to be able to do it for your first 2 years or more, because you've got to show not only that your business is in operation, but that it's thriving, that there's enough money generated in order to account for the cost of purchasing a house, right? You guys remember, I said I was moving to Texas, and it took me a little over a year. From the first video, I moved the business to Texas right away. And it took me over a year in order to purchase a house out here. Now, my situation was a little bit different. I didn't want to sell my house in California, so I had to jump through a bunch of extra hoops in order to be able to show that I can financially support 2 households, right? Or 2 mortgage payments, I should say. So those are things that you really need to consider if those apply to you. Think about it first. Now, the next one is credit, you guys. When your business is new, it has no credit. So you can start an LLC, but probably nobody's going to loan you any money with the LLC as the primary loan holder. It's going to have to be backed up by your personal credit. And if you have bad personal credit or no personal credit, then I strongly suggest that you fix it. There's companies out there that will help you fix your credit, you know, and even like back taxes, you know, there's lawyers and there's places that will offer these services. And yes, of course, anybody that offers a service, you know, wants to get paid for that service. Of course, me too. I don't run Hot Shot for free. I need to get paid for my transportation services, right? Okay. So, but there's businesses that will help you with your credit or with your taxes or with your child, whatever. They will help you. And I strongly suggest boosting your personal credit before starting this, because insurance, you know, APRs, interest rates, even whether you can be granted or denied a loan of any size, you know, it's really, really important. So that I strongly suggest, you know, if you guys have less than average credit, really think about getting that boosted up in conjunction or as you are continuing to learn about the process and watch people's videos and doing all of that stuff, because that can be happening in the background. Somebody can be working on your credit in the background while you're working on everything else. So, and you know, some guys, I don't know, I might do a video on this, but some guys will tell you to refrain from starting, you know, if you want to start in the winter. I personally, like, you know, I don't care. Like, I don't stop until my trailer is full and until like it works, right? I just don't stop. So in my personal opinion, the time of year doesn't necessarily matter. If you are sure and you're going to make it work and you've got all your ducks in a row and you've got money somewhere that you have access to where you're not starting out with $5 in the bank account, then you're okay. Even if you start 2 weeks before Christmas, in my opinion. But again, that's my opinion. I've touched on it in other videos. The cost of equipment is still very high, and it's still, in some cases, difficult to find trucks. And again, I choose my words very carefully there, because I can find trucks. You know, I found Betty a truck. I found my gray truck. I'll find, you know, I can find equipment. Whether it's at a dealership, you can order equipment. I mean, you know, but the cost right now is still very high. The cost of everything is high right now. The American dollar is not going as far as it did last year, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago. Of course not, right? So it's just, that's just the way that it is right now. But planning is so important, you guys. Don't just throw yourself into this and think, oh, it's going to be okay, because the stats don't lie. Research it. The stats don't lie. Lots of DOT numbers get started, and in their first 12 months, they're no longer there anymore. So, and as well as small businesses, it takes a lot of blood and guts and tears and laughter and money, and you know, it takes a lot of stuff to get this started and to keep it going. And don't take it lightly. You guys, enjoy the journey, but plan and set yourself up accordingly to where you have the best chance of being successful, starting successful, and continuing to operate in the years to come. I hope this helps you guys. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I will get to you.